Hi, I'm Sarah from The Upcoming. Absolute pleasure to be able to speak to you today. First of all, congratulations on this absolutely wonderful, immersive, and really kind of emotive film. Maybe for
Sarah, thanks.
people who haven't seen it yet, in your own words, can you just give them a bit of a glimpse of what they can expect if they watch She Is Love?
Well, it's a semi-improvised film shot over 6 days during COVID, although you'd never know. And I play Idris, who is a early 40s. He was a successful DJ called Loverboy in the early noughties. He had a massive hit. And since then, he's been more or less remixing and living off this one hit, sort of one of these guys who has young girlfriends, and then when they get too close, he swaps them for another one. And he's currently with, I've forgotten the character's name, but it's played by the wonderful Marisa Abela from Industry, soon to be Amy Winehouse. And they're preparing. Oh, you vanished. Am I still there?
Yeah, I can still see you.
Okay. And then by chance, his ex-wife, who's not seen for 10 years, played by the wonderful Hayley Bennett, arrives in the sort of Airbnb that they're sort of semi-renting for his 40th, and then all chaos begins.
And as you mentioned there, kind of this, really intense and wonderful improvisational kind of approach that was taken, with Jamie Adams. So I guess there was an element of kind of a leap of faith, a trust you all had to have in each other to kind of go into this project. So what was the appeal for you, and what was the whole experience like?
I mean, the appeal was sort of not typical of it wasn't the script. It was rather because it was in the middle of COVID. I hadn't worked for nearly 2 years partly because of that. And I really wanted to do something that wouldn't take me away from home for months and months, never knowing when I was coming back. I really loved Hayley in Swallow, and I loved Marisa in Industry. And I thought, what the hell? I'll just do it. And then I got the fear really bad before going to do it, because I realized that I was going to have to use a lot of myself in an improv film. And, I suddenly thought, oh my God, I've signed up for reality, like a sort of reality film horror. And I hadn't got the real fear about it. But one thing that I learned doing this is, you're right, you have to have total trust in the people that you're working with. And you can control quite a lot. Once you've been doing this a while, with a normal film, you do the lines and you kind of like how you say them. So you sort of repeat them once you realize you've got what the gist is of the scene. Whereas in this, it's different every time. You have no control over what the other person's going to say, over the direction that it's going to take, over how stupid you might look. So you have to sort of be ready to forget what you've just said and try not to be embarrassed by yourself, and never think about the fact that anyone's going to watch it.
And how much
basically
prep did you have to do? Because I guess what's wonderful about it is you feel like the characters are already so lived in, and it all feels very naturalistic. And of course, you were introduced to this kind of trio of characters, and it's throughout the film that the layers start to peel off, and you can see that there's this whole history there, and all these emotions that are coming to the surface. So you must have had to have a really strong sense of each of your characters in order to be able to kind of pull that off. So did you have to kind of really imagine, the past that these two people have shared in order to kind of make that feel really, really true?
Yeah, yes, we did, but we didn't discuss it. We just felt it out really as we were doing it. I stayed 10 days in quarantine with Jamie Adams, the director, and I realized that some of it was him, the character. But I can't remember. It's such a bizarre way of doing things that I think we both, at our ages, we'd both been hurt by past experiences, as most of us have. So we were mining probably two completely different stories, but that had similar effects, toxic relationships from the past. And the outcome on the individual is more or less the same, even if the details were different. So I never really knew what she was thinking or what she was going to say next. But something clicked, something really worked with all of us, with Marisa as well. There was a lot more of shots than ended up in the film with her, but we got on, we all got on really, really well. And we all sort of gave it, surrendered to it, and looked after each other.
And I was just reading that really beautiful text that Jamie had put as kind of his director's statement, and, kind of bubbling underneath it all, it's about kind of reconciliation and forgiveness, and how that there's sort of, those soulmates that you have that maybe you don't end up together, but there's something that's kind of there forever. How did you kind of read what the film has to say?
To be honest, I don't think I looked at it like that. I never thought about, that's kind of Jamie's job. And I'm happy that it wasn't my job. I had to just try and stay in, as corny as it sounds or whatever, and stay in the moment and not think about where it was going or trying to put anything into it other than trying to be emotionally honest in each second. We weren't really sure which way it was going. I think he thought it was going to be more dramatic. And then the first day of shooting, it was almost farcical what we were doing. It was very silly, the bit where she's suddenly up in the window, that wasn't planned. And saying, my ex-wife's upstairs, it suddenly sounded like it was some sort of, not sex comedy, but it's like, where's this going to go? It's some sort of farce, the ex-wife upstairs, the gorgeous girlfriend. And then it kept taking turns in different directions where suddenly you'd realize you were crying and you didn't really know where it was all coming from.
And of course, also the musical element, really crucial. And, did you find that challenging? It just felt, again, seemed very natural between you and Hayley. I don't know if she's done Cyrano, so we've seen her kind of perform in that way before. But, was that kind of, did you have to rehearse that? And, that seems like a really crucial part of the way they connect is through music.
Yeah, but that was coincidence. I was a musician before I was an actor as well. And I've sung a couple of times in films, but he asked me to write one song, which was the one that is then sort of intertwined with the theme at the end with Marika Hackman, who's a great musician who's sort of the super fan who arrives at the end. But the song that we improvise in the middle, I'll Never Get Married Again, we just came up with while we were doing it. And then Jamie said afterwards, oh, that was great, do that again. But we carried on improvising for an hour after that. So we couldn't remember what it was. So we had to listen to it in order to play it again. But it's quite good. It's quite a catchy, super negative song.
I think I'm out of time, but just maybe you can just say one sentence or two about stuff you've got coming up, Firebrand in particular, is that right?
I worked with Hayley again at Firebrand with Alicia Vikander and Jude Law playing Henry VIII, which with an amazing director. And I worked with Hayley just before Christmas again, so it can't have been that bad. And she's playing Veuve Clicquot, Widow Clicquot, who created and revolutionized the champagne market and brand. And I play her champagne smuggling dandy boyfriend.
Amazing. Well, you definitely both share an incredible on-screen chemistry, so it makes sense you're working together.
Oh, thanks, Sarah.
I'm out of time, but thank you so much for sharing all that with us. Can't wait for everyone else to see this incredible film. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, that's very sweet of you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.